One of the main reasons why I wanted to still go ahead and clean the EGR out is so we can actually put a little camera down there and look at my heater grid and that intake horn to see if that is just crazy backed up, because I feel like I have less power than I used to have. Not like a total power loss like I did when my turbo actuator went out. That's like no power, right? It just doesn't quite have the get up it used to. And so I can't help but wonder if that's the culprit. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm here in Colorado with my broski, about to clean out my EGR. Now, it's actually debatable if you're even supposed to anymore. However, I had my EGR out while getting my turbo actuator replaced recently. And the tech, I kind of saw it. It didn't look, I mean, I've seen worse on YouTube, but he said, like, it's probably worth getting this cleaned out. So we're gonna clean it out for that reason. But also, it used to sound a bit different when I first bought it. So I'm kind of wondering if it's actually being a bit choked down. Now, one reason why I think this might be full of soot right here as well is because I'm already on my second DPF. I'm at about 92.5 miles. And at like 70 something thousand miles, I think, I had a new DPF put in. It had simply, quote, lost the ability to desoot. They had to just put a whole new DPF and catalytic converter in. And here's another contribution to why I think I might have a bunch of soot in my EGR and grid heater. Because look at my idling hours. I did a whole video on this back when I had my DPF replaced. But basically, I thought it was good. I thought it was better to keep it idling than turning it on and off all the time. So school pickup line, heading into a gas station to get a drink, like I just left it on all the time thinking it was better for it, but it's not. It makes soot build up. And so I'm really curious to see if perhaps some of that soot is just caked on my grid heater as well. Now, there was actually a more significant factor that I discovered during the process. So stay tuned for that. Luckily, it's under warranty still. It would have been about a $3,000 servicing otherwise. But the fact that that had so much soot buildup that it ruined my DPF makes me think there's a good chance I have a lot of soot buildup on the intake horn and the heater grid. I'm excited to see how it looks. I kind of hope it's bad, because then it's like a fixable problem. I can desoot it and get my power back, you know? That's the hope, at least. So anyways, let's go ahead and get to it. It's not rocket science. It's a little top cover. 8mm, or I used 5/32 in the past as well, and it worked fine. So just pull this off. I'm gonna pull that off down there, and then these bolts right here. There's 4 of them. These right here, 10mm. That's a 7/16. But tell you what, these are very inconsistent on how tight they were. This one was like kind of like somewhat snug. This one right here, this one was like pretty tight. That was pretty loose. This will be 20 minutes. Little, like, not even an 1/8 turn. There we go. All right, moment of truth here. All this soot, you know, there's not really much that would impede airflow in my opinion, but all right, we got this scoping coming in. Hopefully you guys can see it. Let's see, what's good on the light. Nice. So you can see on the sides, there's definitely some soot, you know what I mean? I've seen some on YouTube that are just terrible, big old chunks of soot. Let's see how mine looks. I'm getting some glimpses in there. It's not that bad. Not like what I've seen. So, yeah, that's not, I mean, it's not, I don't see much restriction happening right there, to be honest with you. So, well, I might not bother pulling that intake horn off then. I don't want to do anything that might jeopardize my warranty. If that heater grid bolt falls in and jacks up my engine, I don't want them to be like, well, you messed with the heater grid, you removed it. I don't want that to happen. And so I'm not going to touch this at all. And we're just going to go ahead and clean out the EGR a little bit, put this back on, and call it good. Here's the pipe that comes from the EGR cooler. It's not that bad either, really. It's kind of hard to get it focused for some reason right now. You see Well, no, this definitely, you can see where it kind of scraped a little bit. That little line is, so there's some carbon in there for sure, but not a crazy restriction to where it caused a power loss, I don't think. Now this is that's a nylon brush, not steel. Don't go anything that's gonna obviously hurt that. I'll tell you what though, I was kind of surprised. I've seen so much worse with so much less miles. I don't know what it is about mine. I have been running additives lately. Ever since I got my new DPF, they'll all run like the Hot Shots Extreme every 6,000 miles or so. Kind of usually towards the end of each oil change, about 5,000 miles actually is when I run that. And then Lucas Oil additive with almost every fill up I put in. The upper cylinder lubricant that has some detergents and stuff in it, so maybe that stuff actually helps. I don't know.
Yeah, it's very, very loose. Just fine powder in here.
Yeah.
You know, not really caked on, not really resisting anything.
Which is good. That means it could be, I mean, it's getting sucked into the motor, that means, and then into the oil, but like that's better than it clogging up, I think.
Yeah.
So we're not going to touch that. I'm not messing with anything electronic. Most people haven't either, it looks like. So we're just going to kind of shoot some of this carbon choke cleaner in there actually. We'll see how that works, and then maybe we'll soak it if we need to, but it's coming right out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, stuff works great. Yeah, I mean, you can see the color on the walls, on that thing in there. Like you can kind of see everything, you know. That stuff worked pretty good.
Yeah,
that was easy, man. That was fast.
Right off.
So now we'll just rinse it out thoroughly, and then we'll probably blow it dry with the compressor, and it's just about good to go, I think. This carbon choke cleaner doesn't leave a residue. It evaporates into nothing. That looks pretty good. Yeah, I've got the glasses on too. So after we did this new razor blade, so it's clean, won't nick anything. The blue 3M pads are soft. The green ones are hard enough, they can mar the metal a little bit. So don't use the green one, use the blue ones to get that nice and cleaned up. And then obviously we're gonna blow the crap out of this inside, which will be pretty easy to do. There's not, you know, it'll blow right out that compressor. So, but we'll get this prepped the rest of the way. These compressible metal gaskets are kind of forgiving as far as if there's not like a perfect surface. And so that makes it a little bit less worried, but. So let's repeat that real quick, Brandon.
Just earlier you mentioned that some of the bolts didn't feel like they were tightened down the same amount. I noticed a lot of soot on this gasket surface right here. I wonder if you were losing some gas out the side here.
Mm-hmm. So we'll make sure that we tighten it more than they tightened it at least. Quick little acetone to wipe down. Make sure it's just nice and free of any, you know, finger grease or whatever else. Now we're ready for these guys. Now, full transparency, because, you know, you learn from my mistakes. Part of the value of my channel is that I'm an idiot. So I don't have this little round one right here. When I was asking the AutoZone and stuff just for help, just getting the kit or whatever for it, no, this didn't pull up as part of it for some reason. So but these are pretty forgiving. I have heard you can reuse them if they're in good shape. That one, it's in great shape. I haven't really touched it, so we're gonna just reuse that one. And then I'll just watch it for any signs of any leaking, but probably be just fine, honestly. But I got new ones for that because I was smart enough to at least get those ones. All right, we're gonna tighten up that bolt first before we torque down those, since this gasket's kind of like call it the weakest link gasket, since we are reusing that one. So ChatGPT gave a range, so we actually went on Banks to look up how to install a monster ram air to see what their torque value was to put the EGR back on, and they said 18, so we'll go to 18. But first, we'll go to 10 first. Just kind of trying them down incrementally. I don't know if you have to per se, but that's just what we felt like doing to make sure. Yeah, I think that this is something that most people could do themselves, no problem. Cool. Cover's back on. Don't forget to reattach that clip, the wires, because that would probably just throw some codes and make you feel sad for like a second until you realize what it was. But anyways, good to go. Let's go ahead and go for a drive and see how it feels. I swear it's a little bit different. It might be in my head. It sounds like it runs a bit cleaner right now, but I know it's all in my head. My boost numbers, I feel like they're a little bit better than they used to be. All right, guys, so we understand that placebos are a real thing, right? And we just work on the truck, so naturally we're gonna think it runs better and sounds better. However, I'm looking at my PSI numbers, guys. The truck does feel more powerful, but I haven't seen my PSI get this high in a while. I feel like it's been like 15 to 20 PSI is where it's kind of been like chilling at. And I just hammered it up to I got like 33 PSI. It maxed at 35. And so I'm actually honestly kind of wondering if that little bit of, there was some pressure escaping on that gasket that we found, right? Where that bolts, they weren't very tight and we could see soot building up. It should not have been like that. And thinking back after I had my turbo actuator replaced, my turbo hose came off about a couple weeks later, and there's just like a little 1/8 gap in the bottom. The top was still connected, so just like half the hose was off and only 1/8 of an inch. You know what I mean? And I had like zero power, like no boost, basically like this crazy rushing of wind noise whenever I did the gas. I was towing a boat when it happened, and I just there's like a hill. I was like 10 miles an hour up this hill, just no power from 1/8 of an inch little gap, right? And the pressure that could be released from that. And so honestly, it kind of makes me wonder, like, okay, there was no actual like gap, but like obviously pressure could escape from those loose gaskets. And I just have not seen my boost PSI get that high in a while, which obviously would make a big difference in how much power I actually feel. So I kind of think it is legitimately faster, not because I was full of soot and clogged up, but because the bolts weren't tight enough. So tighten up your bolts, guys. I guess that's the lesson for today's video. And use carb cleaner. It's way faster than degreaser and having to let it sit for a long time. But anyways, guys, I hope that this video was useful for you guys. Please smash the like button. Even if it sucked, that's an easy way to help me out. But if it was good and you had some value in seeing a newbie's perspective on things as I figure things out, please subscribe as well, because a lot of my channel is about me figuring out how to maintain and own a diesel. It's my first diesel. So and the comments are usually pretty good too, because people will kind of correct me on things and give me advice, and that's also very helpful for everybody. So anyways, guys, I appreciate you watching, and I will catch you next video.